So once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Yogesh, and thank you so much for joining on the last day of this World Investor Education Week. I see, as usual, a lot of familiar names, and I'm sure yesterday's session of technical analysis with Mr. Vivian must have given you a very different perspective to so far what you have learned about investments. Today, we are going to put all this understanding and some knowledge which we gained through last 4 to 5 days in the actual practical session. So, guys, today we are going to do a live trading in the US markets, in the global markets, 5:30 p.m. Why I brought all of you together at 5:30 p.m. Because today, 5:30 p.m. is when US opens, markets are at its best volatility, and a lot has been going on since last 2 3 days. We'll go through some charts and patterns. Guys, today, since it's the last day of the Investor Education Week, uh, and before I proceed, please give me a yes or a okay if you can see my presentation, if you can hear me properly, if there is no network issue. Please give me a yes or a okay so I can proceed further. Okay, I just got 2 or 3 yes. Rest, all of you can hear me. Please go ahead, use your chat options. Percent. Okay, perfect, perfect. Great. So today what we're going to do, we're going to, since it's the last day of the World Investor Education Week, uh, whatever you have understood in last 4 or 5 days, first of all, please get a notepad, a piece of paper, or anything where you can note things down, because we are going to answer a few questions. This is like more like an open session now. There is no other presentation which I have to do. I do have to show you the live platform. But if you have any questions regarding to margin trading, short selling, we'll discuss them. Something which you would like to ask, and any other questions if you like to have, we can discuss it with them. And also, we'll go through the live trading platform and try to put some trades by understanding the quantity, how much it has moved, by creating a watch list once again. So keep your pen and paper with you. If you want to discuss something about, you can. We'll do some calculations, easy to understand, on the piece of paper, so you know how to proceed. So once again, please, anything I am going to tell you today, any trades which we are going to take together. If you have demo accounts, brilliant. Can just also log into your demo accounts and take the trades with me and understand the rationale. And these will be the trades which you can monitor later on. You can put stop losses, take profits, everything. So, but please understand, none of these traits which I'm going to give you is a recommendation or a suggestion for your live accounts or now or later. This is only for your dummy accounts. These traits which I will do right now will be only for illustration purposes. So under no circumstances this should be taken as a live trade. Please understand your risk, just understand the explanation behind this, and then do this in your demo accounts to get an experience. Right now, very quickly, I'll switch to the live platform. So, guys, a lot of you called me up the other day and told me that rather than taking $100,000 account or $500,000 account, let's do something much more realistic and subjective. Let's put $20,000. However, there are a lot of investors who would put 100,000, 200,000, depending on strategies, what we are doing, what not. But then a lot of you reached us out and said that, okay, what if I want to invest $20,000? So today I have taken a standard demo account with $20,000. However, you can invest as per your risk appetite. Could be more, could be less. It's up to you. There is not any kind of compulsion, but you really have to understand the risk Sometimes people think that, okay, I'm going to put $1,000, take full leverage and make a lot of money, which is a really wrong thinking, because then you're very close to gambling your assets. That's not something which you should do. So always have sufficient funds in your trading account. Do not take too much leverage. A very high leverage can be very risky for your investments. It's not a very healthy practice for your finance, right? So just following the tradition which we always have, you can see a poll while before we start and see what is this redness all about. Please answer the question, who do you think is going to be the next US president? And please very carefully answer this question. At the end of the day, this is also just a vote. And most of you cannot vote for the US president. I'm sure none of you can vote for the US president, I'm assuming. But over here, you can vote, and just to see the common masses, and I'll explain you the reason of this exercise. Everybody who is there, I would really request. It's been a strange coincidence. Every time I have given a poll, the results have been very close. It's always 50-50, sometimes 60-40, sometimes 48-52. Okay. The difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden right now in the polls is exactly what it is among US, is what between this crowd also. Okay, great. I see a lot of new names joining today. Those who have joined today, this session, don't worry. We have discussed a lot of things in past 4 days, which will be uploaded on YouTube sooner. And if you want to understand once again, please reach me out for a one-on-one training session, and we can do that for you also. So for now, just be a part of this day when we trade live in US. So 5 more seconds before I show you the result of the question which I asked. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, polls end. You can see the results. So Donald Trump has received 44%. 44% of the attendees here, they think Donald Trump is going to be the president, while 55% think Joe Biden. Now, I gave a very small description about how Republicans and Democrats can affect the stock markets and how they have impacted the stock markets previously. So the polling which you see right now, even if you see the actual polls, the popular polls, Joe Biden has been leading very slightly against Donald Trump, and sometimes Donald Trump has been leading slightly against Joe Biden. So it's a very close call. And 3rd November, please remember, note it down on a piece of paper. 3rd November is when US elections happen, and please you will be able to experience maximum volatility during this time. If you have a portfolio already, please make sure that you're not over leveraged. If you are over leveraged, please fund your account, keep maximum funds in your account, because on the day of US elections, a day before that, a day after that, you can experience maximum volatility and you can lose a lot of money if you're not on the right side of the trade and if you're heavily leveraged. So please talk to your market consultants, talk to your experts, and keep your account well funded. Now, coming back to the markets, note down the market timing, guys. When is the good time to take a trade? So if you're a morning person, 3 a.m. is when you, and these I'm talking about UAE timings. 3 a.m. is when Japanese stocks open. So if you are a morning person, you want to trade into Japanese stocks in the very beginning, you get up at 3 a.m. and you can. Just so you know that if you have a consultant, he will be up at 3 a.m. if you wish to trade in Japanese stocks. And then followed by Chinese equities. And then followed by 11 a.m. UAE time is when UK and Europe opens. So guys, when winters come, that time this 11 a.m. becomes 12 p.m. So UK and Europe opens normally during summers at 11 a.m. You can experience a lot of volatility when UK and Europe opens. So first thing you should look at your trades or positions should be around 11 a.m. UAE time when UK and Europe opens. Then a lot of fundamental economic data for UK and European equities come out around 12:30 to 1:30. So a lot of data related to Europe business confidence. So you must have remembered when I talked to you about economic data. Economic data means industrial production data, retail orders, factory orders. So 12:30 to 1:30, a lot of UK and Europe related data comes out. So if you have positions in, if you have trades in European index or UK stock market index or pound or euro as a currency, you should definitely be careful between 12:30 to 1:30, and especially after 11 a.m. when UK and Europe opens. After that, fast forward 4:30 p.m. is when US data, a lot of US data comes out around 4:30 p.m. UAE time. So if you have positions in gold, S&P 500, US dollar, sometimes crude oil also, depends on what kind of data is going to come out. 4:30 p.m. is one of the most important time that you should look at your portfolio. And I'm specifically talking to the people who are trading day or even alternate days or even 2 to 3 days if they just look at their trades. Watching these markets daily is only going to impact you positively. It's not like if you're a long term investor, then you should not watch markets. Definitely you should watch markets every day, and these are the timings: 11 a.m., 12:30, 4:30 p.m., and then 5:30 p.m., which was today, when US stock market opens. So stock markets are available to a definite time period. Now, a crucial point to note about this 5:30 p.m., why today we met at 5:30 p.m., is markets at its maximum volatility because Europe and UK is already open, and then US also opens. So there is a session overlap, and there is a lot of volatility which comes on the floor. So volatility, when I speak, it means the fluctuations in the prices, the ups and downs, and there's a lot of fluctuations. So a lot of volumes are there, a lot of buyers and sellers they enter into the market. So 5:30 p.m. Is the reason that why normally you should have a glance again at your portfolio, and you can also put a lot of trades during this time. So while I am talking, I'm also noting down on a piece of paper. So please, you also, if you have a piece of paper, note these timings down. It can help you to understand. Now, coming back to the point, today, why? So first, what we are saying, I have opened a watch list which says Dow 30 right here. What is Dow 30? Dow 30, guys, on your chat option, what is Dow 30? People who have attended these sessions from day one, by now you should know what Dow 30 is. What is Dow 30? One word. Come on, guys. Today is your day. Today is the last day. So we are going to discuss a lot of stuff about these things. You can ask me a lot of questions on the chat. Let's make it more interactive. Okay. I got answer number one. Others. Now, by now, I definitely can see some of the names which now I remember. So whenever I'm talking to my guys, I always take these names that these are the people who are coming every day. Okay. 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 So a lot of you are telling me 30 companies, top selected ones, large cap 30. But tell me, what is Dow? As an asset class, where will we put Dow? It's a currency, it's a commodity, it's a share, stock, what it is. Because 30 companies under Dow Jones are stocks, right? Those are companies. And as you said, large companies, absolutely right, 30 large companies. But what is Dow Jones? As an asset class, where will I fit Dow Jones? Is it a commodity? It's a currency? It's a share? Because companies under Dow Jones are shares. But what is Dow Jones as an asset class? So somebody just answered the question. It is a stock market index. Guys, remember, I told you it's an index. It's not a share. Shares are what under this index. So these companies, what you're saying, very rightly mentioned, 30 large companies, 30 companies, top selected from different sectors. So guys, these are the companies which are under this index. So the index is tracking these companies and the movement on this. So today, if you see, so this Dow 30, so these are the 30 companies which are under Dow Jones. Now tell me, looking at these companies collectively, what do you think? Dow Jones is up or down today? And red means decline. So I'm sure you understand that currently Dow Jones must have been down because all these stocks, almost all 30 companies over here are in red. So that means even the stock market index will be in red. So today it is safe to say that US stocks are going down, right? Absolutely. So love the response everybody is giving right now, even on a webinar. Great stuff, guys. Brilliant. So now the stocks are down, US stock index is down. Now let's create, so this is the watch list which I wanted. This is by default in your demo accounts. You can always see that a lot of stocks, except one, Walgreen Boots Alliance is up by 5%, but others, Visa is down by 1%, Walt Disney is down by 1.5%, 2.9%, Exxon is down by 2.1%, American Express is down by 1%. So this is the watch list which is there. But since we have to do a trade, we have to do a lot of trades today. So we have to understand there are lot of instruments which we can see. Now I'm going to create a watch list again. If you remember on the second day, we did this practice. First day we did this practice to create a watch list. So this is going to be my watch list for today. And I will see all these instruments, daily trades, investor education week. Okay, now my watch list is prepared. Now all I have to do is add. How do I add? I click here on this small add option. Click. Now I'm going to add. So I will add US 30, which is the US stock market index, 30 large cap companies, followed by a global benchmark index of US S&P 500. I will also add NASDAQ, which is a tech heavy index. Most of the tech stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, Alphabet, Nvidia, AMD, Intel, a lot of tech stocks are into NASDAQ. So you will see NASDAQ always, off lately, NASDAQ has outperformed a lot of stock market indices. So we'll definitely put NASDAQ here. Let me just add this again, or okay, we'll add this later. Now, we'll also add German index. So many of you may not know, but German index is also one of the most heavily traded index, followed by UK 100, which is UK stock market index, right? So these are benchmark indices for the respective countries. For US, it is S&P 500. For Germany, German 30, which is also called DAX. This is FTSE, which is UK index. And then let's also add in commodities, gold, heavily traded. We'll also add some crude oil. So guys, what I'm trying to do is bring some diversification in my asset classes because definitely I don't want to be exposed to the concentration risk of putting all my money into one asset. I will also add currencies, euro dollar, one of the most tradable currencies which we have seen this year. So euro USD, and then I will also add dollar yen. I will add one agro commodity. Let's take wheat also. Again, guys, it is completely up to your discretion and understanding that how much you want to be exposing the total amount to all these asset classes. And then I can add some shares. Morgan Stanley has come up with the earnings. So we'll add Morgan Stanley. As you can see, the stock is up by 0.6% after the earnings came positive. We'll also add Goldman Sachs, which also gave a positive earning down today. We'll add Apple. We'll add Amazon. And then we'll add one basket, let's say renewable energy basket. So when what is a share basket? A share basket is a combination of all the companies clubbed together related to one specific theme. So if I say renewable energy basket is something which can add all these shares which are related to renewable energy. Somebody asked me, are we missing the Chinese exchange? Hong Kong is important for diversification. Absolutely, absolutely. We can always add more indices as well. Of course, Hong Kong is something which you can add to your portfolio. So, guys, there are a lot of markets available, and of course, you can add Hong Kong, you can add Europe, US, UK. I already added a lot of countries, so you can definitely add Chinese as well. Okay, somebody just asked 10 minutes for the prayer. Please don't worry about it. You can go have prayers, nothing to worry. You're not missing out on anything. This will be going on YouTube, so don't worry about it. Do your prayers, come back, and we'll spend more time today. The session is for 1 hour, but then if somebody has further questions, they can stay for a bit longer and I can answer their questions also. So please take your time, nothing to worry about. Now, coming back to the point. So I have created a watch list for you. If you remember on day one, I told you make a watch list and see every day how the market, how the prices go. If anybody has seen the watch list before and or seen the prices of things, you will know that today markets have come down. One important news because of which markets have come down is the stimulus which has been pending from the US politicians right now. A long talked stimulus for COVID has been delayed, and it looks like the parliament has reached to an impasse. And because of that, so I told you, markets always expect if there is a stimulus coming in and if there are talks going on, then there's a possibility that stimulus might happen. So markets would always react to it positively. But if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't come, then what happens? The stock starts coming down, and that's what kind of is happening in last 3 days. We'll see in last 2 or 3 days what has happened. Stock markets. Let's take the global benchmark S&P 500. Click here so I can see the chart. So instead of 10 months, let's just look at last 3 days. So see what has happened in last 3 days. If you see 14th October, it was 3527 for 1 unit, came down 3495, came down 3479, came down 3455, and again it's around 3459. So the point is, if you see even the trend over here, it's kind of declining, but it's a 5-minute chart. It's last 2 days, so it's a very short-term trend we are looking at. But the fact is, in last 3 days, we have seen that the markets have started coming down, and that has been every day because of the expectation of the stimulus. And every time the politicians, both the parties, they reached to an impasse in US, and markets come down. So this is something which is kind of bothering the equity markets right now. And because of that, if you see today in your watch list, US S&P 500 down by 0.6%, Nasdaq down by 0.6%, US 30 down by 0.6%. All these three US major indices are down by 0.6%. If you see today, UK index down by 1.3%, Hong Kong index down by 1.5%, German index is down by almost 2%. So all the indices are down today. Why Germany index is down and European index are also down? There has been, I think, another lockdown in France, or the possibility, because the cases for the COVID have started increasing. So Europe is also under a lot of stress. Oil prices, as you can see, have come down today by 3%. So it's today a lot of stocks we have seen falling down. So the trend for today is pretty much on the downside. Okay. So now what we will do, normally, so let's take instrument one by one. Let's look at S&P 500. Now, why S&P 500? So many of you will ask, S&P 500 is US stock market index, and US 30 is also stock market index. So why should I trade in both of them? Why should I buy both of them? Because that will be not the kind of correlation you want. If you buy US 30 also, if you buy S&P 500 also, if US 30 goes down, possibly S&P 500 might also go down, and vice versa. So that is correct. So you don't have to trade in both the indices within the same direction. There is $20,000 in this trading account. Now the value of one S&P 500 unit currently, what you see, is $3,464. Now, why I used to tell you that look at the daily range, because now if you see quote panel, expand this, the lowest, if you see here, is 3438, and the highest is 3495. So that means it is S&P 500 has given almost $60 bounce, $60 movement from its lowest to the highest. So when we see the average true range, $50 to $60 movement happens in S&P 500. Again, these days it's kind of pretty normal, 0.5%, 0.7%, or more than that when the movement happens. So this is not something which you will not expect in S&P 500. A lot of volatility, and especially in the coming few days with elections, we might see such movements happening. So now what we need to understand is the trend is on the downside today because of a major news, which is the stimulus impasse, right? So let's look at the chart as well. So this is, guys, now this is a 5 minute chart. So do not look at the 5 minutes chart as of now. Obviously, if you trade more frequently and if you're a scalper, you can look at short-term charts and take bigger trades and close them at smaller differences. But let's say if I'm looking at a 4 hours chart. So a 4 hours chart, yesterday Vivian must have explained you the candlestick and the time frames. As you can see, every candle of this represents 4 hours. So this is red, that means this is 4 hours close, 4 hours, 4 hours. So these 4 hours were even bad than the previous 4 hours. These 4 hours were even lower than the previous 4 hours. So we have seen a declining trend, except this one, which is this candle has started at 3 o'clock. This will end at 7. How do I know that this has started at 3 o'clock? Let me increase the text size. So if I put the cursor on this candlestick, you can see that it says 15th October 3 p.m., which means it started at 3 and it's a 4 hours candle, so it will end at 7, right? So if we have seen now 4 hours kind of gives us a lot of confirmation. If you see in your previous charts also, a proper 2 or 3 4 hours candle, if turns red, it kind of gives you a small indication of how the next 4 hours are going to be like. So if you see in your previous charts, sometimes if you see 3-4 hours rally, again a further increase. Even go back in S&P here, 3-4 hour candles, and we have seen an increase. So most of the times, again, 2 4 hours candles, and again another 4 hours on the downside, 2 4 hours on the positive, and again 4 hours on the positive side. So 4 hours gives you a kind of proper indication that maybe the trend for now could be favoring a more downside movement. So, and fundamentally also, as we can see, the stimulus impasse has put markets down. So first trade which we are going to take, we select a short sell here. So if you select buy, it's going to be blue. If you select short sell, it's going to be orange. The value of this is 3464. Now in this, I will not take any leverage, which means if I have $20,000 in my account, I will trade only with $20,000. That means the total position value which I will have will be 20,000. So first we'll go conservative and see that how we can trade conservatively. So since I want to diversify my 20,000, let's say into 5 different asset classes, which means $4,000 should be my average investment into all of this. So let's say 1 unit, you write unit 3461, short sell. Now the margin needed for short selling S&P 500, again guys, short sell means I am borrowing unit of S&P 500 from my broker and selling it for 3461 in the market. If it comes down to 3451, that means if I buy it back $10 cheaper, I give back S&P 500 to my broker, but I keep the difference of the prices which I earned by the prices when it fell down. So right now I'm short selling S&P 500 1 unit. Now I sold it, but as I said, day trades should never be left without a stop loss, right? Almost actually every trade should have a stop loss. So I will focus on first checking my position. I go to account, I go to positions. Now I can see the trade which I have taken, S&P 500, 1 unit sell. I will modify my trade by putting a stop loss. I have $20,000 in my account. And let's say I don't want to take, I am going to do 5 trades, and let's say I don't want to lose more than $400 in a day, and I have 5 assets, so $80 is my maximum loss. So I'm going to write this point $80 for this, or let's say my stop loss should be, I'm keeping it $40, much safer, but I keep my take profit at 80. Now, guys, there are a lot of things to be seen here. If S&P 500 moves 60 points in a day, let me modify this first. There is a possibility that maybe your take profit do not come at that point. So you accordingly modify your units, because if these were 2 units I would have taken, then 2 units, 40 points movement, $80 profit and loss. So it would have been much faster. But since it is 1 unit, I'm not going to put $80 stop loss and $160 take profit. It might take some time, but what I have done is I have put a $40 stop loss and $80 take profit. In either way, I have put a 2:1 risk reward ratio on this particular trade. I have short sell S&P 500. Note down the price if you don't have the demo account, because what you are going to do, you are going to monitor this with a demo account by talking to your relationship manager. Okay, you are going to monitor this, what happened to this trade, profit or loss, it doesn't matter. The demo account does not gives you any assurance of whether you're going to make money in the markets or not. The demo account just gives you that price anchor, that practice which you need, that medium through which you can track markets and be informed and updated, and you should know that how to execute your trades. Guys, if you have any questions coming in, please keep writing on the chat, so I will also know that you can clearly listen to what I'm saying, and my communication is reachable to everyone. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. So I've taken my first trade, short sell 1 unit S&P 500. You can see a very small profit of $2.50, but the idea is the direction which we chose was on the downside. So US stock index, I have short sell 1. Now as I said, what is the total value of my trade? $3,400. I want to again diversify. Now let's look at my watch list. So I have taken trade in S&P 500 right now. Let's see if, okay, oil, for example. Now, also, I talked about economic data, right? So before I take the trade, I should also see here my market calendar. Click on my market calendar. Market calendar shows me the economic data. What do I need to do? Filter it. All the high impact news is what is important for me. So today, now this is good. 7 o'clock today, one data which is left is weekly petroleum status report, which is crude oil inventory. Now, guys, if you look at the crude oil inventory, you can go to the event information and read the info. What does it measure? The change in the number of barrels of crude oil held in inventory by commercial firms during the past week in US, right? How much the number of barrels of oil is held by the commercial firms. Now, why do traders care about it? Because the figure influences the price of petroleum products, which in turn affects inflation. It also affects growth, as there are many industries that rely on oil to produce goods. So, guys, this data comes every Wednesday, and any day when there is a holiday, it will come on Thursday, but this comes every week. Now, as you can see, 7 o'clock, this data is going to come. Expectation is a decline of 2.5 million barrels. Now, when this data comes, it can affect the net change in the oil stocks, can also impact the oil prices, right? So let's say they're expecting a decline, and we have seen oil prices already down. There's a question, what is the standard stop loss, 5% or 10%? How do you determine? Very good question. So how do you determine the stop loss? Let's take the oil trade. Okay. So I go to my watch list. I can see the oil. Let's say I'm buying now. I'm expecting a decline in the inventory, oil inventory, and this is going to be at 7 o'clock. Oil is already down by 3%. Lowest today is 41.54, highest is 43.51. So let's say if I buy 100 barrels, is $4,000 worth. I have $3,000 worth S&P, $4,000 oil, so that's okay. Now I place an order. My margin block will be 42. I have that much. Now I took the trade and I bought some oil. Now I check my positions again. I bought 100 barrels of oil. Now, guys, 100 barrels of oil. Oil moves $1.5 to $2 in a day, what we have seen in the past few days. So if I have bought 100 barrels at 42, if oil goes to 43, I make $100. If oil goes to 41, I lose $100. Now, coming to the question, how do you determine what is the percentage of stop loss and take profit? So, guys, from a very conservative point of view, I'm going to give you one example. There is something called a 1% rule, which a lot of traders follow, and it depends actually. Some people say 1% rule, some people say 2% rule. 1% rule says, now I have $20,000 in my account. I'm going to trade with $20,000. 1% of $20,000 is 200. So the idea is that you should not lose more than $200 collectively in all your trades in a day, which means if you're taking 5 trades, the total loss in those 5 trades should not exceed beyond 200. What is the reason? The reason is that if you lose $200 today, then you lose $200, for example, tomorrow, then after that, still it will take 100 wrong trades for you to lose every day, so that you lose $20,000 at once. Once again, if you lose $200 every day, it will take 100 trades day on day for you to lose complete to $20,000 consistently, continuous. So the idea is that you restrict your loss to a certain point. Now, if I am trading, so your question was, what is the standard stop loss? Standard stop loss is how much you want to risk. So today in this account, for example, I told you I'm going to take 5 trades today. I'm going to take trade in a currency, in an index, in a commodity, probably in a share as well, right? So 4 to 5 trades I will take. If my total loss should not go beyond 200, that means in all those trades, I should have a $80 or let's say $40 stop loss. $40 stop loss in one trade, which means in 5 trades, my collective loss, if all my stop losses hit, I lose $200, right? So $40 in one trade, which means your take profit should be at least $80 because now you are going to go for a 2:1 risk reward. So if you are placing a $40 of stop loss, then $80 take profit. Now, and there are a lot of things, guys. Right now, I'm just showing you how to trade and how to put a stop loss. You can also see the technical perspective because not every time it's a good time to trade. So if I see the oil chart right now, okay, let's go a little, say 30 minutes, for example. I'm going to take a short-term duration here. Now, clearly, what I can see here is, let's go with the obvious support lines here. And these are 30 minutes. So I'm looking at a short-term support line over here. Another obvious support line, let's say somewhat here, right? And if you see, this blue triangle is where I have taken my trade. And then there will always be a resistance. So a support line is when the price comes down and it bounces back from that particular point. A resistance line is when the price reaches to that point and then comes down. So you can obviously draw your support and resistances. And if you feel that it has about to hit the support or the resistance, then you can always keep a limit or a pending order, right? That is something which is really important. You can keep a limit order or a pending order that once it gets hit, automatically the trade will be executed. You don't really have to be on the system to monitor that. So when you are taking a trade, you should also define, and this is I'm talking about today. Obviously, technical analysis can be used for both short-term and long-term trading. Somebody asked me, you mentioned something about a 4-hour candle. Please repeat. Okay, 4-hour candle, guys. 4-hour candle means, so this one candle represents 30 minutes because I have selected 30 minutes here. If I put this 4 hours, that means every candle this represents 4 hours. Now, if you see in a longer term perspective, a 4-hour candle shows a declining trend. Okay. But this is a 4 hours. In the next 30 minutes, if you want to trade, then you look at a 30-minute chart. But if you want to hold this trade for a period of time, then you can look at this line of support here. So you can see this is 41.2. Okay, right now it is 42.2. So as you can see, it has come, even this line over here is one small support line. So it has come here and then it has bounced back. But from a longer term perspective, you still see the possibility of the prices for crude oil falling down to 41.27. So with the inventory data coming in at 7 o'clock, and with the current trend for the oil, buying may not be a very good idea for a long term, but I was checking 30 minutes, right? In 30 minutes, if you see these last 3-4 candles, it shows a positive trend. So this is a shorter term. So it depends. If you're looking at a 30 minutes on an hourly trade, you reduce your time frame of that chart. You cannot look at a weekly or a daily chart and trade for the next 10 minutes, right? So with technical analysis, you can do both. You can do long-term trades, you can do short-term trades. It depends on the time frame at which you are looking at. Right? So now, as you can see, for a short-term period, I have both my trades in the positive. See, these are smaller quantities, but let's say we are talking about today. The idea is that once the movement happens, we want to close these positions today itself. Now I'm going to put a stop loss and take profit to this. So as I said, if my target is $40 loss, then my take profit should be $80. So I'm going to put a 2:1 risk reward ratio here. So let's say I'm going to put a stop loss at 40. And take profit at 80. There are a lot of methods to this. Sometimes what happens, you look at the support line, which is a closer support, because if you have put your stop loss near the support, then it might comes, hit your stop loss and bounce back, right? So that time you have to understand that if the support is slightly down and you want to move your stop loss slightly down, which will increase the amount of your loss. So you have to manage that kind of risk. You have to understand that this is going to increase my loss. So you keep your rewards also that way. Now I have taken two trades right now. Fortunately, both in a very smaller profit. But as I said, it is going to be a big day. So over a period of time till we see until the markets close, it might hit my stop loss, it might hit my take profit. But the idea will always be that if it hits my stop loss, $40 loss will be booked. But if it's my take profit, then my $80 profit is booked, right? So I'm going to take 5 trades. Two I have taken already. I'm going to go with the currency now. I've taken S&P. I have taken a commodity. Let's go to the watch list. Let's take a trade in euro. Right here, euro as a currency. Today, euro has come down by 0.3%. Let's see if there is any news about in the market calendar. So there was unemployment claims which were higher than before, which means higher number of people have been claiming for unemployment uh, claims. So that is not good for dollar. Uh, Apart from that, there has been no as much European news. We have seen one news coming in for the inflation. Okay, let's say tomorrow. So we have inflation data tomorrow. So see, I switched to 16th October tomorrow, and we are checking inflation data. And tomorrow is a lot of US news coming in. So guys, tomorrow will be also a good day. Please, I know it's off for everyone, but global markets do not take off on Fridays. So you can see tomorrow also, there is an inflation data at 1 o'clock. What did I tell you? After 11, when UK and Europe opens, there's a lot of news which comes between 12:30 to 1:30. So Europe inflation data is going to be there. I told you why inflation data is really important, and they're expecting a slight increase in the CPI month on month, but again a decline year on year. A stronger inflation data could be making a currency stronger. But if you see year on year inflation, it is expected. Last time it was minus 0.2, and now it is expecting minus 0.3. So possibility of a currency getting more weaker. So that is one case. Plus, if you see US data at 4:30 p.m. Tomorrow, retail sales is expected to be higher, industrial production is expected to be higher, and the consumer sentiment is expected to be higher. And if two or three data came positive, we are already expecting a lower year-on-year inflation for Europe. Possibility that euro might dip a bit more. So what I'm going to do is also now I've checked the fundamentals. I'm going to go and check uh, some technicals as well, although it has fallen down a lot. So maybe it shows. So this is a daily chart. So guys, see daily chart last 10 months. It shows here. Why I'm not looking at a daily chart right now? Because my trade is currently for the short term, so I'm not looking at a daily chart. But if you see, this is a kind of small support line for a long term for euro. but if it gets broken, it might go down. But if I see for the, let's say for the next 1 hour, still shows this is supposed to be here. Okay, let's change to 30 minutes. Okay, so I think technically I should wait because the support seems to be broken. Technically, I should wait for it to come down, but since we are taking trades, we'll go with a negative sentiment for euro. And if I take 5,000 as a short sell, this will be equal to $5,000. I'm going to short sell euro. I'm expecting euro to grow weaker. So I place an order, sell, close. So guys, again, smaller quantities. I have short sell euro. Similarly, I'm going to put a stop loss and take profit. Stop loss, $40. Take profit, $80 and modify, right? So consider in these three trades, two of the trades go wrong. So I lose 40 in each, I lose $80. But if one of them goes right, then my take profit of 80 gets hit. So I'm at least at break even. That's the idea of having a 2:1 risk reward ratio. And you put 5 trades every day till the month end in different currencies and commodities, which means you diversify with a 2:1 risk reward ratio, and do it every day with this kind of volatile market after carefully looking at support and resistances with after talking to your consultant. So it is much more systematic than just speculation, right? So there is obviously fundamentals, looking at economic data, looking at technicals and everything. So as you can see, all the three positions which we have taken, because the quantity is a lot smaller, you see smaller amount of movement. You're looking at 30 cents profit, looking at $6 profit. But at the end of the day, I'm not taking any leverage. However, there can be a conservative amount of leverage which can be taken, but then that is again up to individuals' risk appetite. To talk more about this, we can always have a proper training, one-on-one sessions where we can understand the risk also behind taking the leverage, and then always be ready. For now, if you see, euro was around 1.700, and it has started coming down to 1.1698, 1.1695. So I have short sell euro, short sell S&P. I have bought crude oil, and it's been an hour since the whole markets have opened. The US markets have opened. Now, the total value of my portfolio, if you see at the bottom here, it says $13,000, 13,500. But for all these trades, the margin which is blocked is $88 collectively. You can see even the percentage of this is the percentage of the margin which is taken in each and every instrument. So you bought $4,200 worth oil, 1% margin, $42 blocked. You bought euro, sold euro worth $5,800, 0.5% of this is taken, and then 3,461 worth S&P, 0.5% of that, where we have kept a stop loss and take profit collectively, right? Now, there are two more things. I could see a share basket, or I could go for gold. So in commodities, I have traded energy. Now, if I want to trade in gold, let me tell you, gold and oil are one of the most heavily traded commodities. So we have to see, let's go to the watch list and see how gold appears to be like 1894. Now, let's see the chart first for gold, because stocks have been coming down. In last few days, we have seen, when I was talking to you about correlations, we used to talk a lot about how when stock markets start moving, gold prices start coming down because people, they start investing a lot into stocks and they pull money out of safe havens. Last few days, we have seen gold and stock markets are kind of showing a positive correlation, which means when stocks go down, gold prices also go down. If stocks go up, gold prices also go up. So we are already short on S&P. And if I see a gold chart here, now this is again a daily chart. It is still revolving around the support levels. But let's say if I try to see 4 hours window, this is how a gold chart looks like in last 2 months. I think the ideal support line somewhat here, or I think this is the one. 1877, this is one. But at the same time, if I see something around here, 1883, possibility it can come down more, because at the end of the day, if I see 4 hours candles over here, there are 2 of these candles still red. Maybe the trend might fall down to 1885. So what I'm going to do is short sell it. Ideally, what you could do was the long-term trend for gold has been on the buying side. But since we are talking about just today, and there are a lot of other factors, tomorrow there is a lot of US data coming in, and it is expected to be positive with the forecast. So maybe gold prices might dip a little more. If I see today, the lowest for gold is 1889 and the highest is 1903. Now, in the previous past few days, we have seen 1890 and 1888 holds a very strong support for gold. Okay, but looking at yet tomorrow's fundamentals and the way markets are going, so, and with the positive correlation gold has with the markets, with uh, no stimulus talks and positive economic data, and currently a trend which looks like going down, we can go for a short sell. Now gold is 1895. Let's say 5 ounces, which is equal to $9,000, which will be almost $22,000 worth of my portfolio. So rather than that, I'm just going to take short sell 2 ounces, which is low, but then I'm trying to diversify. So I'm just going to do 2 ounces. Normally people do a mini lot of 10 ounces, right? And there are different ways to even take care of your risk. So I'm just taking 2 ounces because I want to show you first a no leverage not a very high leverage trading, zero leverage trading. So I'm going to place a sell order for 2 ounces. Again, incredibly small quantity. I short sell it, which means I'm expecting gold prices also to come down. I'm going to put a stop loss and take profit. Simply, gold moves $20 easily in a day. So I'm going to put $40 stop loss. And again, as I said, so this time, if it is 2 ounces, expecting gold to go up by $40 or go down by $40, not be a justice. Let's say I'm going to put $40 as my 1:1 in this case. So I'm going to modify this, close it. So I put again a stop loss and take profit. I'm short sell on euro, short sell on gold, short sell on S&P, buy on crude oil. I have 4 trades already taken. Okay. Now, guys, this is something which is day trading and speculation. This right now, the value of your portfolio is $17,000. Okay. I'm going to take one more trade of another asset class, and then this will be your speculative trades. But since I promised you more in the past few sessions, I will also show you a couple of trading strategies, okay, which will, let's say, take one-time leverage, but then you will understand how you can manage risk using those kind of strategies. Now, just one more trade before I switch to the pair trading strategies. I think we can take a trade in a share. Let's take tech, or let's take Morgan Stanley, for example. Earnings have come out, and I can see the stock is up today 0.3%. Well, let's take, if we are doing intraday, let's look at Apple. It's down today by 1.5%. Today's high is 120, low is 118. Right now it is trading around 119. We are already short on US 30, so may not be a bad idea to buy Apple, because tomorrow if market goes up, then possibly Apple stocks also might rebound. But and I have $3,000 remaining, so if I buy 10 shares, it'll be equal to 1,000. So let's say I buy 10 shares of Apple, and this is tech. On a energy side, let's say ExxonMobil, which is $33 per share. If you see ExxonMobil's chart, ExxonMobil has been going down as an energy stock for some time. It's a good company, but they have been continuing paying their dividends, and that's why the stock price have come down, because during the pandemic they tried to increase their production and they continue to give their dividends. Now there's a news that there's a possibility they might cut down their dividends, which will save some cash for the company. So let's say from a slightly longer perspective, so while Apple is an intraday trade, ExxonMobil can be that one of those long-term trades. 100 shares will be equal to 3,000. If you buy 50 shares, 1,600, and buy. So now I have total positions $20,000, and I've taken Apple stocks, Exxon, I've short sell gold, I've short sell euro, I have bought oil, and I have short sell S&P 500. Right now, what we'll do is, this is the speculative form of trade. So there are a lot of people who keep asking about long-term trades and then speculation. Speculation is just one form. You see a chart, you put a stop loss, take profit, and you deal with it. What is the next level? Apart from this, the next level, okay, when you buy some stocks and hold it for a longer period of time. So that is one part of your portfolio. Then other part is your speculation. Now the third part is going with market neutral strategies, right? Market neutral strategies, or what we call sometime as pair trades also. Pair trades, as I told you, are taken between two different instruments. Two relatable instruments. So when we are looking at Coca-Cola and Pepsi, or we are looking at MasterCard and Visa, during index, we can look between small cap and NASDAQ also, which is a small cap index, guys. There are a lot of pair trades being taken between market indices also. Now, let me add and introduce you to a new trading instrument, which is called small cap index. Small cap index, guys, is an index which is tracking 2,000 companies of US which have a smaller market value. These are not as big as Facebooks and Apples, but these could be much more regional companies. Their revenue will be derived more from from America rather than globally. So small cap index is also very important because it's like an indicator of how the local companies are doing. Because if that index is down or going down at a faster pace, that means the production of those companies and the revenue of those companies are falling, and that can be due to anything. Could be due to less demand for their products, and that could be because of people have less money. So it kind of gives you a bigger picture of US as a functioning economy. So a lot of pair trades are taken between US indices also. Reason being, Dow Jones have Apple, Microsoft in their list as an index. S&P 500 also tracks Dow Jones and Apple and Microsoft, and So one stock can be in different US index, which can be tracked. So if Apple, Microsoft is tracked under Dow Jones, it can also be tracked under S&P 500. It can also be tracked under NASDAQ. So there's a possibility that these stocks can influence the price of the index also a lot of times. So when we see S&P 500, when we see NASDAQ, today if you see, NASDAQ is down by 1.4%, S&P is down by 1.0%, right? If you see US 30, it is down by 0.94%. And today, if you see small cap is also down by 0.9%. So this is something which is very close. Normally, if there was a deviation, if Nasdaq was down by 1.3% and small cap was down by 0.5%, or small cap was up by a certain period, you could short sell one and buy another. Let's find some more pairs which we can trade into. Let's see our positions first. So guys, I hope you are either trading with me or you're noting it down what we are talking about. Any questions, anybody has any questions, please go ahead. For the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be answering your questions as well. Meanwhile, we search for some more pairs to trade. Okay, somebody asked me about a one-on-one trading session. So one-on-one trading session can definitely happen. Even on Fridays, all you need to do is just talk to your relationship managers, and as per your timing, I would suggest better in the evening once the US opens, so you can have a live demonstration of the platform, and you can even see the stocks also trading in. So that can happen. Okay, somebody's asking about how to open a live account. So to open a live account, you can, I guess, so it's a very easy procedure. You can go to the online link and fill the form. That will be sent to you by your relationship manager. Once again, you can talk to them and they will send you the account opening link along with the documents also. Okay, another question. Apple was down by 4%. Did it break its support? So, okay, let's see where Apple is right now. So if you see on a daily chart, the actual support line on a daily chart, because there have been a lot of gaps also, somewhere around here is where the support lies, which is 108, right? If you can see from here till here, it's not broken properly, it's here. So this is something which could be a good support, which is 109. So definitely a decent buy will be around 109 if the stock comes in. Let me zoom this for you. And again, if you see somewhat one more line, which is here, somewhere around 112. So definitely right now, this is not a good buying level in a falling market. But as I told you that we are just trying a couple of hands here. We bought US 30, we short sell US 30 already. Apple is one major component of US 30. So we went on a buy side for the Apple with 10 shares, but a good buying price. So sometimes what happens is due to a turnaround, if price goes up, so you don't want to miss that opportunity. So you can use dollar cost averaging formula. If you want to buy 30 Apple shares, then you don't buy 30 at once. You buy 10 now. And then if it goes down to 112, which is a good support, you buy 10 more. And then if it goes to 109, probably you can buy 10 more. So you divide that support level, use it break it down into three. How do you know where to put a support? So support can be, okay, there are a few more questions. I'll take from the first, some tips on short stocks during this upcoming volatility. First of all, the word short in itself is never short, but definitely I'll share with you some stocks which you can, or some sectors which we can look around. We are currently preparing a report also on what sectors will be better to invest if Democrats comes in or if the Republicans come in. So we'll discuss that. Is there any necessity to check charts can get direct detail? So if you talk to your consultant, I think the question what you're trying to ask is whether it is necessary to look at the charts before you take a trade or you get the direct deal, just directly trade. See, if you directly trade, uh, then it's just about taking a much more informed decision. It's not that everybody sees the chart all the time, but if you are looking at, like for example, we just saw about Apple that a better buying price could be 112. So rather than buying now, or if you were to buy 30 shares now, you could just buy 10 and then possibly wait for 112. Because so I'm also answering to the next question, which was how do you know where to put a support? So support is nothing else. It's just a point where you expect that most of the buyers would enter and buy the stock. And so if you see this, these candlesticks are nothing but the price movement, right? And this is day on day. So as you can see in this particular chart, let me zoom this for you using the zoom tool here. Look at this red line first. So many times the price came here and bounced back, came here and bounced back, came here and bounced back, came here and bounced back. And then another line which I have drawn over here, price came here and bounced back, came here and bounced back. I think it should be much more precise. It should be here. Yeah, where price is coming and bouncing back somewhere around 107. So support line technically gives you a good entry level because most of the time prices have hit at this band. So 3 to 4 bounce backs put this as a good support level. Okay, 3 to 4 touches on the from where the prices have bounced back is a good support. Uh, Supports and resistances are also meant to be broken. So when the support gets broken, it kind of gives you an idea that I should not buy this thing anymore because it might fall further. So that's the importance of the charts. And these supports also shows the previous lows, right? So when you're looking how many times it has come down to this level and then again bounced back, right? So you can always check this for more details. Now, in a normal case, what will happen? Since this is an education week, so I'm telling you all these things. Normally, what happens? You are with your market consultant, you're talking to him. So you can ask him, okay, what's the good support for Apple? And he can definitely look at the chart for you and tell you that, okay, we are looking at this chart. And if this is your understanding, the next support level could be around this price, which will be a decent price to enter. So the consultants can always keep you aware about the support levels, even the resistance levels, that where it will be better to book the profits and go out. And there are a lot of things. There are support lines, there are moving averages, there are trend lines. Technicals is something you, if you want to learn more, you always can. But at the end of the day, you can talk to your consultant, and it's a gradual process. I'm sure Vivian was there yesterday. He must have showed you some trend lines. He must have shown you moving averages also, the importance of 20-day moving average, how you draw a trend line. That is not something which happens over a day. You can always try to do it step by step. Read the news first and then look for the entry and exit levels. Discuss it with your consultants, and that is it. You might buy. So okay, when we see uh, a lot of people, some questions were asked that uh, when we put a stop loss 5%, 10%, how do we determine? One important point of determination of putting a stop loss is also, as I said, I was telling you before that if you keep it closer to your support line, it might hit your stop loss and bounce back, right? So support line also helps you to understand that if you want to place the stop loss below the support line is a much ideal way. It will have a lower risk and again, obviously a higher reward. So for example, if I have purchased Apple, this blue triangle which you see, I have bought Apple here at 119. So if you want to put a stop loss, you would go for either below 112 or definitely below 107. So if you put below 107, that means you are almost putting a $13 down. So you put your take profit accordingly, because it might come at 107, and due to a good support, it might bounce back. So if you're putting your stop loss at 108 or 109, possibilities it might get hit, and then you have to book a loss. But a proper support line helps you to determine that where your stop loss should be, how below your support, how below your stop loss should be, below the support line. So that is something which the chart adds to your portfolio. Right. So while we are also monitoring the portfolio, I can answer a few more questions. I hope, how many of you are actually trading right now? Please, if you have any questions, try to take these trades, try to put the stop losses, anything which you have in mind, please tell me. Right now, this portfolio is $20,000 worth. We have not gone beyond $20,000. So as you can see, your net loss also, since we have taken trades, hardly 70 cents or a dollar. So when people, they come and they meet you and they tell you that, oh, I lost my entire money in this, they are definitely taking a higher leverage. So you have to understand that risk is not something which you are compelled to take. Risk is something which you choose to take. And how much risk to take is what you can decide. Because right now I've invested $20,000 in 6 different instruments, and I have diversified in different sectors. Collectively, my profit or loss, it is around 80 cents or a dollar, right? So this is up to you how much you want to diversify. You should not over diversify as well. But then on the basis of fundamentals and technicals, with the help of your consultants, day on day, such trades can be taken. At the end of the day, your stop loss and take profits will be in place. So you don't really have to be glued to your platform and always keep checking it. Once in a while, you can just monitor it, and that's about it. Okay, somebody asked me how to save profit during running deals. So again, very good question. I'm going to take example of S&P 500 over here because it's one unit and it's a $7 profit here. So let's say you don't want to book profit right now, but at the same time you feel that I should not lose what I have. So what you can do is, in this case, you have a regular stop loss, right? Instead of the regular stop loss, you put this as a trailing stop loss. Trailing stop loss means, now this is a short selling positions, which means if price goes down, you will make profit, right? So you short sell at 34.61. Right now your buying price is 34.55. If you put a stop loss at 35.01, but be it a trailing stop loss, what a trailing stop loss will do, trailing stop loss will move with the price. So that means right now your trailing stop loss is 3501.9. So if buying, so let me put this here. Now if you see, your trailing stop loss is 3502 because price is going down further. Okay, so 3501.52. Yeah. So now if the price is going down further, your stop loss will also continue to go down. So again, this is a short selling trade. So understand it once again. You short sell at 34.61. Okay, which means the price comes down, you will book a profit. You put a stop loss at 3501, right? Which now, if you see, is 3500 because your buying price have started coming down. So more your buying price comes down, more your stop loss goes down. Again, buying price comes down, your stop loss goes down. But the moment buying price starts moving up, this threshold is right there. This trailing stop loss is not going to move. So basically, what you have done is you have locked in a certain amount of profit for yourself, and you are ready to see how down it goes just to maximize your profit. So you don't want to put a take profit, but you want to keep your position open, and yet you don't want to lose the profit which you have. So what you do, you put a trailing stop loss, which means if price goes down, your trailing stop loss moves closer to the price, which means if it starts going up, it just hits this particular hedge. So this is also something which you can use. Now see, if you look at the portfolio, your current trailing stop loss is 3499, which started with 3501 or 3502. It started with 3502, it became 3501, then it became 3500. Now it is 3499. While your buying price, which was 3454, is now 3451. It goes down further. See, now it has come to 3450, and the trailing stop loss is almost 3499. So earlier your stop loss would have got hit at 3501. Now it will get hit at 3498. See, it just changed here. I'll just zoom this for you all to see. See, right here, let me scroll it for you. See this. Right now, your trailing stop loss is 3498.64, which started with 3502, is now 3498.64. So, and also guys, look at why diversification is important. You're making a $10 profit in S&P, but you're losing $9 here in gold, right? You're losing $8 here in oil, making a dollar in euro, 50 cents in Apple. So this way, more you diversify, not as in more you diversify, but diversification is needed because all asset classes will not react in the similar direction, and you can buy some of them, you can short sell some of them. So it kind of gives you a better balance over your portfolio. Right. Also, guys, I'm going to take a seasonality trade right now. So we're talking about these trading strategies, right? So there is a seasonality trade which is going on, and I'm sure most of your RMs must have, if you have reached them out here. So I'm going to show you the seasonality trade which has been going on these days. This was silver seasonality analysis. Okay. And this is something which is very interesting. And let me show you the flyer for this. The questions, guys, should keep coming. Don't worry about the questions. Please keep asking me while I show you the silver seasonality analysis report. Okay, there's one question right now. Do you think Donald Trump will be re-elected as president? That's a good question. Do I think Donald Trump will be re-elected as a president? Well, he's definitely good for stock markets. So at this point of time, I hope he gets elected as a president because it is going to give you a good amount of push to the stock markets. So yes. Now, okay, I'm just downloading this to the platform so you can see this and I can share it with you. So seasonality trades, guys, is also depend on a lot of backtested data from past years, and the idea is to uh, go with the fact that if we have seen in the past how it has behaved, can we take advantage of this now? So yes, right here, and let me know if you're able to see this flyer right here. And seasonality traits are very easy to understand. Okay, well, this available in MT4 also. MT4 is a very basic platform. You can install a lot of technicals, but a certain amount of ease comes within the custom-made platforms like Next Generation, which you are looking at. But MT4 also has technicals. Which platform is better to trade? I think the platform which gives you best execution, has a better app, is the better platform. It is not really about profit and losses because it's a part and parcel of the market. So okay, I'm just gonna go away from the platform for a while and show you this strategy, and you can take this in your demo accounts, by the way, and even analyze this. So November month pointing towards further discount on silver question mark. The idea is what we have seen. This is a seasonality flyer, guys. Now, above chart shows, and before I say anything, rather than let you guys see this and tell me, is there a pattern which you see in this chart? So these are silver returns month on month basis in last 6 years. You have your chat options open. Tell me, what do you see? Go ahead, guys, use your chat option. If you see a pattern, the second, so if you see it starts from January, ends December, and there are different years, 2014 to 2019, the 5-year average. Tell me if you see a pattern. Okay. Anyone sees a pattern? Okay, December up, good. Decline. Somebody said decline. Okay, could make it zoom. December, Jan, Feb are good months for return. Okay, let me zoom it also. Somebody said to zoom it. Let me zoom it a bit. Okay, now see it. If it is easier now. So a lot of answers coming. December, Jan, Feb are good months for return. Is it? Okay. Somebody said decline. Can you just tell me a bit more about a decline? Where exactly? Decline exactly which month? December. December, okay, declining from Jan to September. But then if I have to take a trade, then how can I take a trade from Jan to September? If you closely monitor, November has been constantly red every year, right? Just look at the second last column. November has been constantly red, while January most of the time has been green except one occasion, right? If you see it, it will come to you now. If you notice it, that second last November has always been in red. So these are called seasonality patterns. When we see and we study uh, month on month, year on year basis, that how a particular commodity has reacted. This is done a lot in agricultural commodities also, and this time we are doing it in 6 years of seasonality analysis for silver. So the above chart shows last 6 years silver seasonality analysis heat map. November tends to be the weakest for the commodity, while January is the strongest. Over the last 6 years, silver has declined each year in November month, with average losses seen during this month being 4.5%. For January, the inverse is true, as silver has gained in 5 out of 6 years, with the average gains being 5%. Now, macro reasons for November downfall. Uh, it is silver is largely impacted by industrial cycle flow, year-end deleveraging by major industries in the form of reduced silver inventories, and demand likely affects the metal prices. As instead of 2019, global silver demand was in range of 991 million ounces. Now, guys, the point of this is you find the November reasons for pre-November pent-up demand, reasons for November downfall. All this continuously sums up to the point that November is a decent month to short sell silver. So today, if you are thinking that what should I do with silver prices, earlier you would just speculate, but now with strategies coming in, you can actually go for a short sell in silver, but obviously you can keep your stop losses at this point. These numbers individually every year, how much return negative November has shown. So if you want to take advantage of the expectation that prices will fall, you can go for a short sell, right? So this is something which you can do on your platform. So let's say, let me quickly go to the platform here to show you how you can take that trade. Now I have used my full value. Okay, here $20,000 worth of everything I have. Now, just to take advantage, if I'm taking 2 times leverage, I take silver, equal value, let's say $5,000, not to go much higher. Let's say $10,000. I'm gonna go for a short sell. So now I have short sell silver. Right? So now total value of my portfolio 13,000, my account value $20,000. Guys, this is still conservative, and this silver is a strategy-based trade now. So you can hold on till November. So right now this is 15th October. Normally, if you see a resistance, you go for a short sell because we have seen strategy. This is something which is for the month of November. And don't forget, we saw that in January, the prices they start going higher. So this is something where you can enter and exit at these months after talking to your respective consultants also, right? Now, there are some questions. Somebody asked me if Europe is having a second wave fear, is it a good time to buy stocks? If so, then which sectors? So the point is, pandemic has second wave. It did push the equities down, but then even during the time when second wave was there, oh sorry, when the first wave of the pandemic happened, a lot of US stocks came down, right? Now those stocks came down, but there were few stocks which went up also. And we should not forget that Europe is doing a lot of stimulus for the economy to be again at the line. So if that is the reason, then we can go for European stocks, but we have to be very careful which stocks to pick. So something like SAP, for example, it's a leading German enterprise application software. And if you see US tech stocks have always been going up now more than a decade. And even if you see from the March lows, the entire recovery of 2020 happened for US because of the tech stocks rally. SAP has been a very strong performer as well. Now, if you see till date, year to date, the growth is almost around 16%. So their business model is transitioning now from a licensing model to a more cloud model, and that should really help the company reach 80% of the recurring revenue at least in the next 2 to 3 years. So even whatever is happening right now, the entire crisis, their earning per share growth is phenomenal. And I think there are a lot of projects they are already working on. So stocks like that could be something which you can use. There are semiconductor companies like ASML Holding, again, Dutch market leader, really good. This is something which you can look into. They have performed well in 2020. Year to date, stocks are higher around 22%. And this is simply, if you see Apple event, Apple stocks came down after the event. Everybody must have seen the iPhone 12 now, but one stock which went up was Verizon. So 5G related companies have actually started going up. So customer demand growth drivers of 5G. related industries related to 5G, which are based on semiconductor, for example, are also going higher. So ASML holding is something which you can do. In terms of UK pharma companies, AstraZeneca could be one area. Then if you see another pharma company which is based in France, which is Sanofi, right? So you can diversify a bit to pharma sector also. And again, as I said, these are pharma-based companies, Sanofi and AstraZeneca. Before that, you saw ASML, which is semiconductor. Before that, enterprise model into cloud, which was SAP. So you can diversify your portfolio. Even oil majors like Total, which gives you a good dividend, will be a decent idea to enter into. And they have one of the healthiest balance sheets, even when oil industry has taken such a heavy blow and there have been such a sharp decline in the global travel. This is something which you can do. uh, Again, tech companies like ABB, Vodafone, again telecommunication companies. So these kind of stocks, even European, UK, you can definitely see, understand your risk, and then you can enter into. Somebody asked me to write this down. I cannot write this down. So this is just something which is back in my mind, so I'm telling you. But then definitely, when you are talking to your consultants, you can always talk to them, and they will guide you towards how to do it. So now, guys, if you see oil, there has been a certain amount of profit, $20 here, after the inventory data came out. So if you see the inventory data, 7 o'clock. See, the decline expected was minus 2.5, but it came 3.81 actual. So more decline in the inventory, and then we have seen a slight increase in the price of the crude oil. So we were on the buying side. So this is something which is much more event-based trading. So now you see $25. Now see, guys, diversification. I'm making $23 profit here while I'm losing $12 in gold. Silver, which is much more a strategic trade for November, but we just took to demonstrate you that how you can take seasonality trades. Otherwise, if you see ExxonMobil prices, it's up. Apple prices, euro. So that's why you need to, guys, diversify. Even now, also, I'm invested into different asset classes. My net profit or loss is $2 to $3. So this is something when I have equally given distribution to all the asset classes. Sometimes when we know that if gold is expected to move $20 in a day, then you buy 10 ounces of gold. So you give more weightage to gold, but then smaller funds invested into. So if less funds invested into a more volatile asset, it's okay. More funds invested into a more volatile asset, not okay. But more funds invested into a less volatile asset, okay. So this is something which you can balance your way out. But at the end of the day, one more question. At the end of the day, if you are not tracking the prices every day, then it is not right. You need to use your demo accounts. You need to keep checking your watch list also every day, and strategies will continue to build. Another question is why we are not seeing EVs from Germany when even China can come up with new. So it's not like that. There are a lot of companies. We heard about Volkswagen and we heard about BMW. They are working on EV. EV is going to be one of the next. After oil prices came down, it was not expected from the EV market to catch up that much. But then at the end of the day, clean energy is something which is going to be adopted. So there are companies. I mean, even the companies, regular companies like BMW and others, they are working on a lot of EV technology. So you can always invest into those as well. And guys, those who are interested in EV can invest into renewable baskets. Also, the battery in the battery cars comes from lithium, and we have a ETF, a fund which is called Global X Lithium and Battery Tech ETF. So it has some of the lithium mining companies, because a lot of lithium is going to be mined if the demand for EV, electric vehicles, is going to be going higher. So you can also invest into lithium mining companies also. So that is also something which the consultants can help you out, right? So that was a great session, guys, from your end. And as we can see, You can track these trades. You can put this in your demo accounts, put stop losses, take profits, and do this for the next 2 to 3 days. And come for one-on-one sessions. These are free of cost sessions we are doing. Review us on Google. Let us know how did you find these sessions. We will have one more webinar coming in 21st about the earnings season. We'll have one more session about US elections on 28th of October, 7 p.m. I'll bring Vivian also for a bit technical perspective in the last 30 minutes on that session. So a lot of information, guys, coming in. Talk to your consultants. For those people who have live accounts, be very careful, guys. A lot of volatility is expected. So those who are heavily leveraged, please keep your accounts funded. And those who are not heavily leveraged, well done. Keep looking for more and more opportunities. Stay invested. Do not uh, fear the volatility. Volatility is actually an opportunity, but then you have to make sure that you're taking all the steps necessary to minimize your risk and minimize your losses. So it was a great 5 days with all of you. Thank you so much for sticking around for day on day sessions. This is something which we are looking forward to do it more often now. So definitely we'll be doing this every time. And anytime if you want to have again one-on-one sessions, please talk to your RMs and let's have one-on-one session. We are working on Fridays as well because markets are on, so we can do these sessions on Friday as well. And a lot of people were talking about live accounts. Please talk to your RMs. You can easily open a live account by clicking on the link, and a few documents need to be submitted, which is very easy. It goes to the approval for the compliance, and then 2 to 3 days account can get open. So once again, thank you so much. This was a great week for me personally. It was great sharing all this information with you. And yesterday, Vivian shared a lot about technicals. So all of us have been working hard to give more and more information to you. And really commendable how much dedicated you all have been, taking out time, coming out in the evenings and showing up in the later evenings. It is amazing vibe. I really love this, how you have responded to the entire voting and chats. It's really brilliant, guys. Well done. And I'm sure at least when we started where you were right now, your status is a little elevated from where you were, and there's a lot to learn and a lot to go. So it's more like on the job learning. So when you start trading, you get to know so many things, and you really learn a lot. So let's continue this out or away from here, where on one-on-one sessions I'll be available, your RMs will be available. On behalf of my team of Century Financial, myself, a big vote of thanks to all the first responders, medicals, doctors. If you have friends or family who's out there and protecting us, thank you so much for doing that. It's really, really commendable. This whole pandemic is not a happy situation for any one of us, and it is great to see everybody united. And once again, thanks to all the medical authorities or anyone here who is a part of such prestigious community. Stay home, stay safe, and please keep yourself invested. The copy of this session soon will be uploaded on YouTube, so you can revisit this. And again, one-on-one sessions are available to all of you. My name is Yogesh. I'll take your leave now. Thank you so much.